This is just the warm up for the actual show. Just trying to get myself situated in here. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Shout out to everybody on TikTok, on Instagram, wherever it is you may be watching from. Dariana, thank you for joining. Thanks for the likes, y'all. All right, let me see. Hey, what's good, everybody? Hope y'all having a great Friday. Oh,
Watch college
well, a
football
great start to
all
your
season
Friday.
long, live, on a variety of networks, with game-winning features. On YouTube.
Yeah, we love commercials. Y'all let me watch it just yesterday. I guess I can't share it to everybody. Oh, never mind. Yeah, I can. I'll share the actual show with y'all. Hey, but yeah, let me get us a good message started in here. Something just to get our day kicked off. This is just the warm up. This ain't expansion pack. It's just me in here chilling, getting ready for it. I hope everybody's having a good Friday. Like I said before, um, I was watching. I was watching this the episode from yesterday, and I was just laughing at a bunch of stuff because I'm like, the sound of my voice and all of this, but that's neither here nor there. Let me get us something to listen to. Who is talking to us today? Of course, everybody want to be wealthy, so let's go in that direction.
Have you ever wondered what is the difference between people who are hyper successful and people who struggle their way through life? Have you ever wondered, like, why does it look so effortless for some people to make a fortune while other people struggle to eke out a meager existence? On this video today, I'm going to talk about Myron's millionaire mentality. I'm going to talk about my millionaire mindset. And my millionaire mentality. How did I go from this guy who was a trash man making $6.25 an hour, $9.50 an hour overtime, to making literally 7 figures a month? How did I do that? Um, well, I'm going to share with you the 4 biggest financial breakthroughs in my mindset in my life. So I'm going to give you a formula. The formula is mindset, mindset
Yes, sir.
times skill set times tool set equals assets. And as my friend Daniel Priestley says
My
so
man's.
eloquently in his book, Oversubscribed, income follows assets. So if you desire to have more income, you have to have more assets.
Okay.
And so mindset times skill set times tool set equals assets. But the most important one of those is mindset. If you have the skill set without the mindset, you won't use it. If you have the tool set without the mindset, you won't know how to use it. But if you have the mindset and you don't have the skill set and you don't have the tool set, you will get the tool set. You'll figure it out. You'll figure out the skill set if you have the mindset. And so on this video, I'm going to share with y'all my 4 biggest major financial breakthroughs of my life. And then I'm going to do something I've never done before on a live YouTube. I'm going to open it up for questions. I just thought of this morning. That's why it wasn't scheduled. It just came to me. It occurred to me. Wouldn't it be fun to teach people my 4 biggest financial breakthroughs right here, December 1st, 2023, before we go into 2024, so you can go into 2024 with some momentum, right? And so then I'm going to have my team put a Zoom link in the chat so that those of you who are watching, if you have a question for me, we're going to bring you on Zoom, bring you on YouTube Live. You're going to get to ask me your question live. I'm only going to do, I don't know how many we're going to do, but I'm going to do a couple. You're going to ask me questions live. After I teach these 4 breakthroughs, you may want to ask me a question about one of the breakthroughs. You may want to ask me a question about something else. My favorite book or what I like to do in my spare time, golf, so we'll save that question. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down my 4 biggest financial ahas. First and foremost, that I believe if you will adopt these beliefs, it will take your life to another level. We've got folks in studio. We got folks on YouTube. This is like a last minute just go live because I felt like it and felt like it might be a good thing for me to do for people. So before I go into that, I want to say this. Why am I talking so much about mindset? Because I heard Tony Robbins say a long time ago, he said, if you want to duplicate any form of human excellence, find someone who's doing the thing you desire to do and model 3 things from that person. How many things? Talk to me, everybody. How many things? 3. Model 3 things from those people. Number 1, he said, model their belief systems. I believe that our beliefs create our life, and more than the circumstances that have happened to us, and more than the things we know, and more than any other factor, the biggest determining factor of how our life works out is what do we believe? Okay, y'all tracking?
Appreciate you,
Okay,
Maya,
so
for
number 1,
joining.
model their belief system.
Thank
Number
y'all
2,
for the likes.
model their physiology. Physiology is how they carry themselves, how they move themselves in space and time. It's whether or not they look people in the eye. Do they talk really, really slow? Do they talk really, really fast? Like, are their motions really big and animated, or are emotions really constricted and restricted? And so you model the belief systems of somebody who's achieving what you'd like to achieve. You model their physiology. You carry yourself the way they carry themselves. And the third thing he said, you model their mental syntax. Syntax is the order in which we fire off messages in our brain. We may be firing off the same message in our brain, but if we're firing them off in a different order, we're coming to a different result. And we're coming to a different conclusion. If I say to you, the dog bit Johnny, right? I use 4 words. The dog bit Johnny. It's 4 words. It has a meaning. But if I say Johnny bit the dog, I use the same 4 words, but it has a totally different meaning. So we have to not just fire off the right messages in our brain, but we have to fire off the right messages in our brain in the right order. Are y'all tracking? Let me hear you say I'm tracking.
I'm tracking
Okay,
that.
cool. So now I'm going to give you my beliefs. I believe that rich people are not rich because we have money. Rich people have money because we are rich.
That's my man.
So becoming rich shows up before the money shows up.
Right.
Okay. Now what does that even mean?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
I'm gonna break it down. What happens is we have beliefs about money.
Hey,
And
what's
our
good,
beliefs
C?
create our life.
I love Mr.
And
Golden. This guy is nothing but the
so
truth. Yes,
what
sir.
you believe
Yes,
about the
sir.
primary
It's
source of
Financial
money is
Friday,
like
so
all
we
my
kicking
money
this
in my
thing off
closet
great.
In my office. Can you grab my wallet out of my closet, Karina? Okay. So what I believe about the purpose of money is going to determine how much money I make, how much money I keep, how much money I have, whether or not my money's working for me or whether or not I'm working for my money. My beliefs are the thing that determine that. And so I'm going to give you three different beliefs about money. I'm going to give you the poor person's belief, I'm going to give you the middle class person's belief, I'm going to give you the wealthy person's belief about money. So the poor person believes that the primary purpose of money, so if you're taking notes, I'm going to say it again. The poor person believes the primary purpose of money is paying bills.
Oh my gosh.
So if you believe the primary purpose of money is to pay bills, and all of your thoughts about money are, how can I make enough money to pay my bills, you will always be poor.
Oh my
Now, you
gosh.
can be poor and be thinking about how you're going to pay your bills, but until you change your focus on the purpose of money, you will never have more money than
Just
just
to pay.
barely enough money to pay your bills. It's just how it works. Okay?
Wow.
By the way, can I give you a little mindset hack for that?
Okay.
Or a way to do
That's
that?
my man's.
So pick a number, like of monthly income, an amount of monthly income that in your mind would be a good amount.
Okay.
Okay? And that would be really nice for you to have, and then double it. Okay, everybody got that number? Okay, so I want you to pretend that you made that amount. Let's say a good number in your mind was $6,000. Man, if I just made $6,000, I'd be okay.
Okay.
Okay, cool. That's good. So then you double it, it's 12,000. Okay. And then you say, okay, by the end of 24, my business is only going to be at 12,000 a month.
Okay.
So you take the number that you thought was twice as big as a good number, and you put only in front of that number. And so now you're taking that number that you used to think was big, now you're making it smaller. And when you make it smaller, that makes you bigger.
Right. That's my man's.
So people say,
gotta listen to
like,
this 4 more
Marion, how much
times.
does your business do? Our business only does, like, on average, 1.3, 1.4, 1.6 million a month. Only. Now,
Yeah.
if you don't understand what I'm doing, you'll think I'm trying to flex. But what I'm doing is I'm programming my subconscious mind not to think
That's
that
enough.
$1.5 million a month is a lot of money. Why? Because I learned something before I ever had my first $1 million year. I learned this principle. Seldom will I make as much as, never will I make more than the amount I allow myself to think of as a lot of money. I'm going to say it again. Seldom will I make as much as, never will I make more than the amount I allow myself to think of as a lot of money. So if you desire to make 6 figures, you can't afford to think 6 figures is a lot of money. If you desire to make 7 figures, you can't afford to think 7 figures is a lot of money. Even before you start making that amount of money, you have to turn it into an only in order for it to even become a possibility or a likelihood. Hopefully that makes sense. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Yes? Okay. So poor people think the primary purpose of money is for paying bills. So they think it can stay there. It can stay there. It's just I was looking for something in my wallet. I lost a $5,000 check, and but it's okay. It was made out to me in the bank, so nobody can cash it. So if you think the primary purpose of money is to pay bills, you're going to work really, really hard. If you make $25 an hour, you're going to work 4 hours to make one of these. If you make $20 an hour, you're going to work 4 hours to make one of these. And then as soon as you get it, you're going to hand it over to somebody else. So I want you to really wrap your mind around what I'm about to say. For most people, payday is not really payday. It's just transfer day.
Right.
And so if you desire to create wealth, you have to stop letting payday be transfer day. You got to make sure payday is the day not just your bills get paid, but that you get paid. Hopefully y'all tracking. Okay?
Hey, see if you still out
Okay.
there. I'm gonna. Hey,
So
what's good,
that's
Jay
the first one.
Moore?
Poor
You
people
better
think
be
the primary
listening
purpose
to
of
this,
money is
man.
paying
What's
bills.
good?
Middle class people think the primary
Doing pretty
purpose of
okay,
money
man. Thanks for liking
is
the
paying their bills
video.
on time
I want
so
to
they
be
can
quiet
maintain
so
good
you
credit.
can hear this though.
So now they
See
can
if
buy
you still
things
out
they
there.
don't
I'm
have
gonna
enough
run
money
this
for
back,
because they can buy them on credit and pay the payments on time. So they think the primary purpose of money is maintaining good credit so they can buy things they can't afford, don't need, on I think their bills on time so they can maintain good credit. So now they can buy things they don't have enough money for. Okay, so that's the transfer day. You got to make sure payday is the day not just your bills get paid, but that you get paid. Hopefully y'all track it. Okay? Okay. So that's the first one. Poor people think the primary purpose of money is paying bills. Middle class people think the primary purpose for money is paying their bills on time so they can maintain good credit. So now they can buy things they don't have enough money for because they can buy them on credit and pay the payments on time. So they think the primary purpose of money is maintaining good credit so they can buy things they can't afford, don't need, so they can impress people they don't know. And half of them don't like you anyway. Okay. So that's what poor middle class people and poor people think are the primary purpose for money. Most of most of the money of poor people goes to paying bills. Most of the money of middle class people goes to buying what I call WRLs. What's a WRL? A wealth reducing liability.
Glad I can.
Most of the money of rich people, even before you are rich financially, if you develop this mindset, you can, everybody listening to me, you can get rich today just by changing what you believe about the primary purpose for money. You can go from being a poor person to a rich person today. And here's how. You believe the primary purpose of money is to turn it into what I call an IPA. What's an IPA? An income producing asset.
Yes, sir.
So the primary purpose of money is to make more money. So my primary purpose when I get $100 is to turn it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, $1,000. Now if I can turn 100 into 1,000, now this money, I held on to it. See, I don't save money for the purpose of saving money. I hold on to money long enough for it to get pregnant and have some babies. And I never spend the mama money, I only spend the baby money. So I don't spend the money I make to pay bills. I only spend the money my money makes or my businesses make to make money, to pay bills. I don't work for money to pay bills. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna work to build an asset that will crank out enough cash to pay all my bills. So my assets pay for everything in my life. I'm gonna go into deep discussion on that with you in a little bit. That's gonna be my last breakthrough that I'm gonna share with y'all. That's gonna be the breakthrough that has made me the most money in the shortest period of time. My last.
Oh yeah, man. You know, IPA. Yes, sir. Hey, what's good, DDA?
Financial breakthrough. Okay, so
Thanks for joining up.
So when
Got some
I
knowledge
determined,
for
when I
It's
said,
just a
okay,
pre-show.
from now
I'm starting
on,
this back
for the
up
rest of my life,
again.
I'm gonna believe the primary purpose of money is to
We
turn it
actually
into more
starting
money.
at 9 o'clock. So
My life started to change. In fact, it wasn't very long after that. In fact, it was 4 months after I came to that conclusion, after I made that decision. See, I didn't realize the day I decided that, I didn't realize I was rich then, because the money hadn't showed up yet. Right? So I still thought I was broke. But I wasn't broke. Well, middle class. I wasn't really broke. I was middle class. I thought I had good credit. You know, I could pay my bills on time, and I could buy stuff I couldn't afford with money that I borrowed. So I was middle class, right? And so, but the day I decided, okay, I am going to start focusing on using my money to create and build income-producing assets, my life changed. That was in January of 1999. By April of 1999, now let me give you a little backstory. I made an income in 1998, $48,000 from all of the sources of income that I had back then. I had basically 3 sources of income. I had a little part-time business. I was on salary because I was a senior pastor of a church, and I had a tape ministry where I'd go and preach at other places, and I'd sell tapes of my sermons. So and I had a little part-time business. Okay, so I had three assets, but I wasn't really focused on them. I was just focused on doing my main thing. So I made $48,000 that year. Well, in September of 1998, I resigned from the church, and I started focusing more on my business, and I started focusing more on just traveling as an evangelist. Well, by April of 1999, I made $6,200 in a week. Now you gotta understand, $48,000 was the most, in 1998, that was the most money I'd ever made in my life. $48,000 for the year. And then $48,000 a year is an average of $4,000 a month. And all of a sudden in April, after I decide I'm gonna focus on assets and not liabilities, and not focus on paying bills, when I decided my primary focus for money was turning into more money, by April of that year, I had a $6,200 a week, which brought me to my second major Myron's Millionaire Mindset breakthrough. What was it? It was that it's easier to make a lot of money in a short period of time than it is to make a little money over a long period of time. I am telling you, that belief changed everything for me. Like, it didn't change almost everything. It changed everything. Because when I realized I made $6,200 in a week. Now you gotta understand, $48,000 was the most, in 1998, that was the most money I'd ever made in my life. $48,000 for the year. And then $48,000 a year is an average of $4,000 a month. And all of a sudden in April, after I decide I'm gonna focus on assets and not liabilities and not focus on paying bills, when I decided my primary focus for money was turning into more money, by April of that year, I had a $6,200 week, which brought me to my second major Myron's Millionaire Mindset breakthrough. What was it? It was that it's easier to make a lot of money in a short period of time than it is to make a little money over a long period of time. I am telling you, that belief changed everything for me. Like, it didn't change almost everything. It changed everything. Because when I realized that it's easier to make a lot of money in a short period of time than to make a little money over a long period of time, I decided in that moment, for the rest of my life, I was no longer going to look at, and I was no longer going to look for the hard ways to make a little bit of money. I am only giving attention and intention to the easy ways to make a lot. Now, I didn't know how much that decision was going to change my life. But it changed my life in such a great way that by July of the same year, I made $8,000 in one day. I was like, oh, it's real. It really is easier to make a lot of money in a short period of time than it is to make a little money in a long period of time. It's fascinating to me now, right, that I think, oh my goodness, I made $8,000 in a day. I mean, some days, I'm not bragging, I'm just saying, like now, some days we make $8,000 before I wake up in the morning. The time I go to bed at night, before I wake up, we made $8,000. But back then, that was like, oh, it works, right? It changed everything. And so I doubled down on my belief that it's easier to make a lot of money in a short period of time than it is to make a little money over a long period of time. Like, if you will decide that the primary purpose of money is to turn it into more money, and you will believe that it's easier to make a lot of money in a short period of time than to make a little money over a long period of time, and you will decide that you're no longer going to look at the hard ways to make a little bit of money, and you're no longer going to give attention or intention to the hard ways to make a little bit of money, but only give attention and intention to the easy ways to make a lot, it'll change your life for the rest of your life. Like, I'm not giving you a speech. I'm just talking to you about what changed my life and about how my brain works when it comes to money. And it works very differently than other people's brains. I was talking to my brother this morning, and so I'm hyper intentional about words. Like, I'm hyper intentional about words. Like, and sometimes I'm very misunderstood because I'm so hyper intentional about words. So my brother said, yeah, what's that other thing you said you were going to try to do? I said, I promise you. I didn't say I was going to try to do anything. Like, try is like a curse word to me. I don't try to do anything. Try? I'm going to try to?
Pay attention to
I said,
what
I'm not
makes
trying to
you
be
a lot.
obtuse.
Yes,
I'm not
sir.
trying to be difficult. But I can guarantee you I didn't say I was going to try to do anything. I either said I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it. But I did not say I was going to try. Okay, so I'm hyper. And so sometimes, like, if I said that to some people, they'd think I'm just being a jerk. But I'm not being a jerk. I can't let you tell me I said something that I would never say. Is what I'm saying making sense? Okay. So I started focusing on the easier ways to make a lot of money. And now, like, last year was our best year ever. In the last 3 years, 2021, 2022, and 2023, we made the Inc. 5000 fastest growing businesses in America. We were in the top 10% of the Inc. 5000 fastest growing businesses in America. We were number 427 out of 5,000 businesses over a 3-year time period. That's relatively significant. Okay, but that's because of these two things I just shared with y'all. Now the third one, okay, just so y'all are on YouTube, Larry, did you already put the Zoom link on there? Okay, put the Zoom link in there so people can start getting on deck. Okay, because I'm gonna open it up for questions here for those of you on YouTube and those here in the audience here in a few minutes. And we're gonna alternate back and forth. And I'm gonna Yeah, okay, we got plenty of time. So I'm gonna wrap it up probably around 10:45, 11 o'clock. So if y'all want to ask me a question, get ready. Larry's getting ready to put the Zoom link in the chat, and then you're gonna be live on YouTube with Myron Golden. As I said that as if it meant something, only because it was so much fun to do that. Okay, so the third one, like this is not just a financial breakthrough. This is just a life breakthrough. And it helped me realize. So before I even tell you that, some of you have probably heard of Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Some of you probably haven't heard of him. He wrote a book. He and Dan Sullivan wrote a book called 10X. They wrote a lot of books together, but they wrote a book called 10X is easier than 2X. Well, 10X and so I heard Dr. Ben speaking at
Right. That's why I be
a
putting
mastermind
these.
I was at in Mexico.
See, that's why I
last
do
year.
expansion
He was teaching us
pack,
10X is easier than 2X.
to
I was
get this out.
This is so crazy because, like, literally a couple weeks before that, I learned this new principle,
need
right?
this.
And so he's teaching on 10X is easier than 2X, and you don't 10X by doing 10 times as much. You 10X by removing 80% of the stuff you're doing because it won't get you to a 10X result, right? You have to do something totally different than what you're doing, not more of what you were doing, right? And so when he got done, he was asking questions. I was like, I have a question. He's like, I said, you were talking about the Pareto principle and the Pareto distribution, blah, blah, blah. I said, is this similar to Price's law? He said, I'm not sure. I've never heard of Price's law. What is it? And so I explained it to him. He's like, ooh, that's really good. And so we had this really fun conversation about 10X is easier than 2X and Price's law. And Price's law is game changer, game changer, game changer. One of the biggest breakthroughs of my life. I'm gonna go over on my blackboard. I'm gonna draw it after I take this hot jacket off. I'm gonna draw it on the board for y'all. You're gonna be blown away. I'm already blown away thinking about Price's law. So Price's law states, and I'm talking about money, so I'm gonna use a dollar sign, states that 50% of the production of any domain is produced by, I think this is how you draw it, the square root of that domain. So by the square root of that domain. Okay, so 50% of the production of any domain is produced by the square root of that domain. So that's the principle. Now what does that even mean? Because it sounds like a word salad until you get into it, right?
50%.
It means if you have if you have 4 tomato plants, half of the tomatoes, like half, 2 of the tomato plants will produce 50% of the tomatoes. Well, that makes sense because 2 is 50% of 4, right? But watch what happens when you take the square root to
60.
So 2 is the square root of 4. 2 times 4. Square root means the number squared, the number times itself, right? So 2 times 2 is 4, so 2 is the square root of 4. Well, if I take this and make the square root of 3, then 3 times 3 is 9. So if you have 9 tomato plants, 50% of the tomatoes are going to be produced by 3 plants. But we're not farmers. We're entrepreneurs. So let's turn it into a business, okay? If you have 4 salespeople, half of the salespeople are going to make 50% of the commissions, the other half are going to make the other 50%. If you have 9 salespeople, 3 of them are going to make half of the commissions. The other 6 people have to split the other 50%. Okay, let's take this number and ramp it up really big. Let's call this 10. 10 times 10 is 100. If you have 100 salespeople, 50% of the commissions are going to be made by 10 people. What? Now, let's take it from salespeople. Let's take it to businesses. If you have 10,000 businesses in a town, 10,000 businesses in a town, 100 times 100 is 10,000. 100 of those businesses will produce 50% of the GDP, gross domestic product of that town. Okay, cool. So what are we noticing? Here's what we're noticing. We're noticing the bigger the square root gets, the smaller the percentage that produces half of the production gets. Okay? So in America, there are 30 million businesses.
300,000.
Okay, there are 30 million businesses in America. 30 million. The square root of 30 million
No, it ain't.
is
300,000.
I think it's 5,477. That means
5,000.
out of 30 million businesses, 5,477 of them produce half of the gross domestic product of the United States. They make 50% of the profits. They get 50% of the revenue. And the other 29,994,533 get the rest. Get to split the rest. Now, you say, Myron, what does that have to do with anything? What do we learn from this? My takeaway from this, by the way, I'm not saying this is a conclusion Price came up to when he figured this thing out. This is a conclusion I came to when I learned it. Mediocrity scales exponentially, but excellence scales incrementally. If you look at the top, the best of the best in any arena, it doesn't matter if it's sports, it doesn't matter if it's medicine, it doesn't matter if it's academia, it doesn't matter if it's business, you're gonna see that there are a few people who are so much better than everybody else, it's like they don't even exist. Like, how is it in our lifetime, there's one Michael Jordan. In a generation, there's either a Wilt Chamberlain or a Michael Jordan. There might be 4 or 5 players that are so much better than everybody else that everybody else in the arena says, I hate it when I have to play that person. There's a Jack Nicklaus and then there's a Tiger Woods. There was a Bobby Jones. And it's not like there are, why? Because mediocrity scales exponentially. But excellence only scales incrementally. Why is that? I don't know, but it seems like that could be because most people are willing to do what it takes to be a part of the mediocre many, but almost nobody's willing to do what it takes to become one of the fantastic few. And if you will decide you're going to be one of the fantastic few in your arena, here's the beautiful part. There's very little competition at the top of the heap. Most of the competition is fighting for the scraps at the bottom of any arena. So if you decide, I'm going to spend 4 to 10 times preparing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For the same, I'm going to spend 4 to 10 hours preparing for every hour I spend performing. You will be one of the best of the best. But almost nobody's willing to do that. Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down?
Yes, sir.
This thing rocked my world because I'm like, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to be one of the fantastic few. I know it's going to take more work. I get it. Yeah, I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm doing this. Mediocrity scales exponentially. Excellence only scales incrementally. My question for you is, are you going to be one of the fantastic few, or are you going to live the rest of your life and be one of the mediocre many? That's a great question. That's a great question I think we should all ask ourselves.
Got that down.
The last financial breakthrough that I'm going to share with y'all, and Larry, do we have people on Zoom yet? Or? Go ahead and start it. Yeah, go ahead and start it. They can be on, I want them on deck where I can see them. Okay. So now we're opening up Zoom. We're going to let folks. The Zoom link, by the way, is in YouTube. So if you want to be brought on and ask me a question, if you have a question you want to ask, click on the Zoom link, go sign into the Zoom, and then I'll let you ask a question. If nobody on YouTube wants to ask me a question, and by the way, when you do, make sure you have your camera on. If you don't have your camera on, we're not going to call on you. So, but just be ready. I see you there, young lady. Just be ready, okay? So, and we'll have more come up here shortly. Okay, cool. So, and we're going to ask people in the room as well. So, this last financial breakthrough, this is the thing that has made me the absolute most money in the shortest period of time. When I say the most money in the shortest period of time, this one breakthrough that I'm about to share with you has made me just about $7 or $8 million since June of last year.
Here we go.
Since June of 2022. So I'm
Here
not.
we go.
I don't teach. Y'all know I don't teach theory. Okay, don't play with me. Okay. All right. So this one right here. This changed
play your
everything.
cards.
In fact,
right
I'm gonna
here.
go sit back down because I'm getting a little worked up, and I probably need to drink some water. Probably need to drink some water. Say, Myron, why are you being theatrical? Because it's fun. Okay. Here's the conclusion. This breakthrough hit me like a ton of bricks. Poor people and middle class people feel like, everybody say feel like. Poor people and middle class people feel like everything is expensive because they pay for things with money with money they've exchanged their time for. So they feel like everything is expensive because they feel like they're paying for everything with their life, because they are.
Yeah.
So here's what I mean by that. If you make $20 an hour, you go to the gas station, gas is $5 an hour. I don't know how much gas is, maybe $5 an hour, maybe 7, maybe 3, I don't know. But whatever it is, let's say gas is $5 a gallon, okay? When you get ready to fill up your car with gas, and let's say it takes 20 gallons, you're asking yourself, you make $20 an hour, and it takes 20 gallons.
All right, I'm ready to start.
$100. Okay, is this worth 20 hours of my life? Or no, 5 hours. You make $20 an hour. Is this worth 5 hours of my life? Is this tank of gas worth 5 hours of my life? You get ready to buy a car, it's $50,000. If you make $50,000 a year, you're asking yourself, is this car worth a year of my life? Because the only way you learn how to make money from a culture hypnotic societal mechanism is trade your time for money. Are y'all tracking? Okay. So, rich people, we don't pay for stuff with money we've exchanged our time for. In fact, I'm going to tell y'all something you probably didn't know or potentially didn't know about rich people. We do not work for money. We refuse. First, why do we refuse to work for money? A couple reasons. Number one, working for money is a terrible way to make money. Number two, it's highly inefficient. And number three, there are better reasons to work. So, what do I mean I don't work for money? So I work to build assets and let the assets pay me. I work to gain experience. That's a good reason for me. You can do whatever you want to do. You're a full-grown adult, right? But I work to gain experience. I work to build an asset. I'll work to build a business. I'll work to develop relationships. I'll work to be a part of something special. I'll work to leave my mark on the world. But the primary reason I work, the number one reason I work is to exercise my God-likeness. The first thing God did for 6 days after he began everything, he worked. So I work because I'm made in the image of God. And as Christ said, my Father works, hitherto I work. Are y'all tracking?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So, rich people, here's how we pay for things.
Got about 15
Before I
minutes.
tell you how we pay for
start up
things,
here.
like, I'm going to show you something. When you understand what I'm about to show you, for the rest of your life, everything will cost the same amount. Did y'all hear what I just said? For the rest of your life, your car will cost the same amount as your house. Your house will cost the same amount as a bottle of water, which will cost the same amount as a pack of gum, which will cost the same amount as a first-class vacation. Everything will cost the same amount. Why? Because to rich people, everything costs the same amount. My cars, doesn't matter, Mercedes, Rolls Royce, whatever, costs the same amount as this bottle of water or this pack of Tic Tacs. All cost the same amount. Flying on a private jet from here to wherever I want to go, or drinking a bottle of water, pack of Tic Tacs, all cost me the same amount. Why? Because as a rich person, we pay for things. Write this down exactly as I said it. Do not translate it into your language, okay? Rich people, we pay for things according to our creativity. I'm going to say that again. We pay for things according to our creativity. Notice I did not say we pay for things with our creativity. I didn't say we pay for things from our creativity. I didn't say we pay for things out of our creativity. Why? Because if I had said any one of those things, we would have less creativity after we paid for it than we had before we paid for it. So, if you're poor, buying things makes you poorer. If you're middle class, buying things makes you poorer. When you are rich, buying things, like literally buying things you just want to use, buying a new set of golf clubs, buying a new car, buying an island, buying a mountain, buying a plane, actually makes you richer. I'm going to prove that to you in a minute.
Yes, sir.
How many of y'all like the sound of that, but it sounds a little confusing? Right?
I'm
okay, I'm going to prove it to you in a minute. Okay.
I'm gonna pause
So here's what we do as rich people. We pay for things according to our creativity. When I want to buy something, like I already told you, I don't want to take some of my money.
I'm gonna pause that right there.
buying things makes you poorer. They're two I work. Are y'all tracking? Okay, cool. So, um, so rich people, here's how we pay for things. Before I tell you we pay for things, like, I'm gonna show you something. Well, here's how we pay for things.
Okay, got it. I'm gonna keep that right there, cause I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna start playing that as soon as we start up here today. I'm gonna start right there with that. All right, so if you didn't know what this was or you don't know what this is, you are tuned into the Prep for Expansion Pack. That's my show, me, Dan F. Man, that I host. Hold on, I gotta edit some settings. That's what I host here on DGTA TV. You can catch us on Twitch. You can catch us on. We ain't on Twitter right now. You can catch us on Twitch. You can catch us on Facebook, YouTube, and anywhere else. This music in my head, in my ears, killing me. Hold on. Give me a second, because I can't even talk. And now they make my game freeze. I like the song, okay? I like it. It was hot. I'm not sitting here waiting for this. I won't talk trash no more. Yeah, okay. Anyway, like I was saying, we getting ready for expansion pack. We're gonna start up here in about 10 minutes. And I appreciate everybody who stopped through. Shout out to UC. Shout out to DD18. We're gonna be right back. This is DGTA TV. Chill.